Exceptions right here. Here's the first exception is these muscles called hamstrings. Right? That's what people call them, hamstrings, but they have specific names because starting from the lateral aspect, so I'm on the side of the leg, the first muscle you encounter is called the bicep femoris. If you remember on Tuesday I said there's a bicep brachii and there's a bicep femoris. And then the next one over has a long tendon, and that tendon is part of the name, semitendinosus. And you can feel the tendon right here. It's huge. Yeah. Even if you're a couch potato, you can feel the tendon. It's always there. Right? So some students learn it as IBS. Like, IBS around a lot, because that's iliotibial band, iliotibial IT band, bicep femoris, and semitendinosus. IBS. Right? Irritable bowel syndrome. Okay. Moving on down, we have the gastrocnemius. Gastro means stomach. And so these are kind of stomach-shaped muscles, especially on a bodybuilder. They look good. In fact, we call them bellies. This is the lateral belly, and this is the medial belly of the gastrocnemius. But think of our ancestors. If they were ever injured, like the hyena bites them in the calf, they have a backup or synergist called soleus, shaped like the display of soul. And so if this one's injured, the soleus picks up the workload. And the workload is to plantar flex. So we can see our enemies. Okay. Big action, big muscle. Okay, they both tie into this huge tendon that's attached to this bone named calcaneus. So why don't we call this the calcaneal tendon? And you'll see it on the cadaver on Tuesday. It's massive. Sometimes when people injure the calcaneal tendon, it doesn't tear. Just pull off a piece of bone, boom, and roll right up. But it doesn't like to tear. And you'll see how massive that can be. All right, moving up the leg even further. Gluteus. On Tuesday, you're going to see the cadaver, and the muscle fibers are laterally directed, which tells you something about its action. Okay, this is not the action of the gluteus maximus. Everyone thinks it is, right? They try to build their booty. It's a lateral rotator. Yeah, that's the action. Lateral rotation. And you can see by these muscle fibers. If this one's injured, we have a backup called the gluteus medius. And we'll flip back the gluteus on Tuesday, and you'll see this muscle. Now, when we give injections, we can't give them the gluteus maximus because most people have a thick layer of fat. If you inject into adipose, it's just going to sit there, and medicine's going to sit there for days. So we inject up here, gluteus medius. Here's our target. You just have to be careful not to hit the sciatic. We'll look at the sciatic nerve also on Tuesday. Okay, moving up the back, erector spinae. So the abdominals and the obliques are going to, what's this action called? Did you see the angle? Flexion. Okay, so what would this action be? Extension. Okay, so that's action. When people injure their back, if they're young, it's usually erector spinae. If they're older, like say 70 or 80, it's usually the vertebrae are getting smashed together. On the side, the word is latissimus dorsi. Lat means wide, dorsi means back. And so these are the big swimmer's muscles, really. Because swimmers, they have to recover. And there's the action right there. Because this muscle, called pectoralis, it wants to do this all the time. And he'd walk around like gorillas if it wasn't for latissimus dorsi. It keeps us kind of aligned. So there's the action, rotate the scapula back. Trapezius, which is trapezoid shape, its action is pretty simple because it's going to elevate the scapula, elevate and rotate. And you think, why do we need to do that? Sometimes you have to reach, you have to pick something up so that trapezius gets engaged a lot. Okay, the arm. I've removed the big deltoid muscle that comes across, and so we can see the what are called superficial muscles. This muscle, okay, so this is called flexion. This action is called extension. So here's a major extensor of the upper arm called the tricep brachii. 3 heads there. If you follow the long head up, it goes right between the 2 teres muscles. Teres major, which is big, teres minor, which is small. We're not learning the actions in lab for these, so we just know where they are. Major, minor. Here's the spine of the scapula. So if it's below the spine of the scapula, we call it infraspinatus. If it's above the spine, supraspinatus. This is the one that people injure, the supraspinatus. Like if someone says, oh, I injured my shoulder, it's often the supraspinatus because it dives right between the humerus bone and the scapula and it gets pinched. It's kind of like a bad design, I don't know. It's one of the few bad designs of the human body. All right, so that takes care of the shoulder. When we go down, the forearm muscles look kind of hard. Because like that kind of looks like that and that looks like that. But the word for fingers is digit. Many fingers is digitorum. The action, what is this action called again? Extension. So if you know the action, you kind of know half the name, because all these are extensors. So here we go. We follow this down, and it goes into 3 fingers. So we have extensor digitorum. Simple, yeah? Okay, so on a test, if the tape's here, you just follow it down. Oh, many fingers, digitorum. If it goes into the pinky, it's extensor digiti.